Hey Switchheads, hope you're all well. Kanan here, and welcome to my review of Pinkman Plus, a kind of action-adventure platformer. But before we get started, can I just mention below, clicking that link to our Discord will, take you to our community Discord, and we do lots of fun activities there, streaming and non-streaming. So with that, let's see if Pinkman Plus can make it to the top of the top on our Wall of Fame, or whether it's going to hang its head in shame on the, Wall of Shame, or maybe somewhere in the middle. Gameplay. You're a man, and you're pink, and you're lost. And it's your job, I guess, to find yourself or a way out, maybe? And yes, you do this by jumping, and you can also jump up walls, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like scaling them. And did I mention that you get a jetpack? Oh yeah, jetpack. Now that is pretty cool, but you only have a certain amount of fuel, and this kind of regenerates when you've landed or not used it or anything. So all your large jumps and when you need a jetpack has to be all timed properly, otherwise you will just fail and die. But as you progress through the game, you actually have levels where you kind of like have to gain fuel packs or extra fuel in order to progress, and they're kind of lying around, and it's essential that you collect these and either do them in a certain order or just basically collect them so you can get past the level or section. The controls all work well enough except for the jump button. Now and again it'll kind of like you'll press it and it just doesn't respond. This isn't always, but it does happen sometimes. Now the levels are quite decently made up, and there's plenty in there to either get you killed or have to work out in a puzzly type way how to get past. You'll be getting yourself past, or trying to anyway, platforms that disappear, spikes, moving platforms, jump pads that jump you up into the air, and these can be hinderous, as in they'll knock you into something, or they can actually be quite useful, as in get you somewhere. And there's also things like homing missiles, which they home in on you and kill you if they reach you. And there is loads and loads of different things as well that can either help you or kill you. Get where this is going? Luckily enough, there are several save points during some of the actual sections, which is quite useful, and I don't think I would have got quite so far if they weren't there. And also there are switches, and they'll open doors or open platforms, as in making them disappear so you can go through them or fall through them or whichever. And a lot of the time you'll also be looking for a switch to open I like to call it end of level door that you need to actually activate, otherwise you can't actually end the level. The game is really good fun. It's kind of difficult, which is good, and it makes you think about how to get from A to B in either the quickest possible way, because there is actually a timer and you can go back and try and speed run through the whole game if that's your bag. As you can see by my gameplay, every time you die it's got a different palette to it, and this can be good, and trust me, this could also be very bad, as sometimes the color palette kind of messes with your senses, and it almost feels like a different level, and it can also, colors can be too alike, therefore distracting too much, or you're not being able to see the main character from the background. And with that brings us nicely onto the graphics, and with what I've just said plus the minimalistic type look to it, I think it kind of looked okay with a almost modern twist, with the actual main character kicking up dust or whatever it is behind him when he runs forward. It's kind of neat little addition to the graphics, and the actual jetpack looks pretty cool as well. And there's some nice little additions to the actual graphics here, and it's kind of a bit of an old schooly with a new schooly attached to it. As for that audio, it is pretty neat. The soundtrack can go from a nice little calming sound that really feels nice to a very retro synthy type sound, which is pretty cool. All the other sounds are very retro-ish and kind of basic in a way, and you'll see nothing special, but it does what you kind of need it to do. The good. There is plenty here. It's very difficult and it is fun. And I do like that music score. And also the little additions to the graphics, like him running with the trail behind him, sort of thing. The bad. Sometimes the controls can not feel as responsive as you'd want them in a game like this, and that change in palette every time you die is really annoying. It can really sort of like dampen the experience because you can't quite see the actual main character with the actual backgrounds put to it. The score. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. I've enjoyed it. It's been nice. It's a good experience. Priced at just under a 5, I'd say it's worth that. I think speedrunners and platform people definitely get something out of this. If you're kind of a newbie, I think you might struggle a little. But I do like the concept of the jetpack in addition to everything else that's normally in a game like this. The alternative. And my alternative is Charge Kid, and it is hard as nails. Do not go into this game unless you have a very good constitution and very good with platformers. But for all that's worth it, it's still a very enjoyable platformer and kind of in a way this sort of vein. So I think after you finish this one, you'll definitely probably enjoy Charge Kid. So any comments about any of this at all, leave it down in the comments. That's where it belongs. And don't forget that if you want to join our community Discord, the link is below. Go ahead and click it and join the community. There's loads of activities that we do there as well. And if you like any of the content, you know what to do, because life is better when we switch together.